Hello and welcome to Sisters of Defiance, nourished by Ancient and Brave with me, Anita Rani. This is a podcast where I sit down with a woman who is an innovator, who has gone places no other woman has gone before. Maybe she's broken a few rules, maybe a few eggs, definitely a few balls. To say and do what she wants to do. And it is such a privilege to platform and champion their stories. This week, what a woman I've got in the hot seat, Emma Grede. Emma is an East London girl done good, the eldest of 4 children. It's through her own sheer hard work, tenacity and drive that she now finds herself, as Forbes magazine said, one of the richest self-made women in America. So this conversation is all about entrepreneurship, it's about leadership, it's about business, and it's about her book, Start With Yourself, where she basically tells you her story about how she got to where she got to. Oh, and if you want a little bit more context, it was the union between her and her husband, and then joining in partnership with Kim Kardashian that they set up Skims. Am I wearing them right now? Maybe you'll never know. What you do need to know is that this conversation is going to really get you buzzing. She was a proper laugh and a real joy to sit with. Here you are. Enjoy, Emma Grede. Emma Grede, welcome to Sisters of Defiance.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to my home.
I can't believe this is your home. That's like the nicest thing. I literally came in and I was like, it smells so good in here. It's so gorgeous in here. Look how cozy it is. And I was like, where are we? You're like, my house.
Yeah. Do you love that I got you your Marks and Spencer sandwiches?
First of all, the spread is spreading. I'm like, what is happening? You gave me crumpets. You gave me a sandwich. You gave me all my favourite things from Marks and Spencer's. I wonder what's about to happen.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to give you a goodie
I'm like, what
bag.
do you want?
So you do a podcast. This is my first step into the podcast world after broadcasting for such a long time. And I think that for you to take the time to come here, and also for all the people to take the time to listen to us, right? Because people are busy, and to commit to an hour of conversation, I'm very grateful for that. And I always like to start by everyone taking a breath together.
I love a breath.
Yeah? Does that work for you?
Let's do it. It totally works for me.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Audible exhale.
Yes. Audible exhale.
Oh, full of breath.
Congratulations on the book.
Thank you, my darling.
Actually, just on the audible exhale, what struck me straight away was this is someone who's done a lot of work on themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, an enormous amount, actually. I really have. And, you know, it's also been so continuous because I started that when I was like 18, 19 years old. And I don't know that I'll ever stop.
Yeah, that in itself really struck a chord with me. It's like, this is someone so self-aware that even at 18, they realised, it took me a long time.
I sort my life out.
I'm 30 years in. I'm like 48 and I'm still like, maybe I need to do some work on myself. So it's called Sisters of Defiance. We're going to hear your story through your moments of disruption and acts of rebellion.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. Okay, so when was your first act of defiance? Take me back.
First of all, I love these questions. I was like, this sounds like me in a podcast. This is absolutely amazing. I think, honestly, the first one would have been leaving my first sort of big corporate job.
Yeah.
Because when I had that role, I spent 6 years in a job where I learned so much. But there came a point where what I was doing and what I was putting in was really out of whack with what I was getting out of it, meaning that I didn't feel like I was being paid enough. And at that moment, you know, when you're that young, I was like mid-20s, you kind of imagine that what it is that you have is so inextricably linked to that place, those people, that perhaps you can't do that outside. And so it really was an act of defiance to think that I could leave and start on my own. Plus, for me, I'd never had an ambition to run my own business. I didn't know anyone that had their own business. And I honestly remember being scared, but not scared as much as I was frustrated. And so that was the first moment for me where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go.
Emma, where did that self-belief come from?
I honestly think it comes from where I come from. You know, like I had an amazing upbringing in the sense that I was given a lot of self-assurance. My mum kind of grounded us with this idea that you're not better than anyone else. but no one's better than you. And I believed that. And I also had this belief that I could work my way out of where I was, that there was something more out there. And if I just applied myself, I could find it and get to it.
What, if you weren't you, coming from where you come from, what were the expectations? What was the set trajectory, if you like? What could have been your life?
This is the thing. There were no expectations. It was like no one ever told me to do my homework. No one ever said to me, how do you feel about college or university? No one had any expectations that any of us would come to anything. It was like, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't embarrass the family.
Yeah.
End of. Like that was it. There were no expectations ever put on me. And in a way, I think that left me an element of freedom to come up with what is it that I would expect of myself. And I just knew that I wouldn't be happy with what I saw around me. I saw a lot of unhappy women. I saw a lot of dissatisfaction. I saw a lot of depression, actually. It was really like prevalent in my own family, but also where I was from. And I just thought, fuck that. There's just no way, like no way that this is going to be my life.
I'm nodding because I can totally relate to that. Right? Okay. The difference is that when you come from like a working class South Asian family or an Indian family, there is
expectations are high, right?
Massive aspiration.
Someone's like, become a doctor.
Yeah, the aspiration is put into you.
Yeah.
But also, like you, I looked at the women around me and what was expected of them and just how they'd martyred themselves to these lives and thought, fuck that.
Yes.
That is not happening to me.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm really grateful actually that I saw that side of life.
Yeah.
That to me, it never felt like that would be my destiny. But it was enough like that was around me for me to feel like, there's got to be another way. There has to be a different way to live.
But you also were the eldest.
I am, yes.
I have big sister energy too.
Yes, yeah. It's very.
It's exhausting. Isn't it
it's
exhausting?
but it's also a huge part of my personality.
Yeah,
I'm naturally very maternal. I was never someone that wanted kids when I was younger, despite being a mother of 4 now, which is really interesting. But I didn't, I never thought of myself as someone that was going to have a big family because I'd already raised my sisters. I'd already been so parental and paternal in my young life. And so I just think that comes naturally to me. I'm an empath. I like to look after people. I get a lot of pleasure out of that maternal instinct to look after people.
Yeah, that never wanted to be a mother, then became a mother.
Yeah.
So what changed?
Everything. As soon as I met my husband, it's like something clicked in me. I wanted to have a family with him.
Yeah.
And I fell in love, like madly in love. And the minute, it was so interesting because I never really wanted to get married. I didn't have that traditional outlook on life. I was so focused on my job. I was so focused on the things that I wanted to achieve. And when I met Jens, I was like, oh my God, I love this guy and this is going to be amazing. But like, I've got to keep my eyes on the prize. And when we got married, it was almost like somebody turned a switch on me. I was like, oh my God, let's have a baby. Like, I don't know, chemical.
I think people can change.
Yes, and they do change.
Yeah, exactly. And we must change.
Yes, we must change.
Can I ask you about office romance?
Absolutely. Back in the days. I mean, hello. I don't know where people meet people. I fell in love I was so in love with the situation then. I worked in it was like such an amazing time in British fashion, in the kind of British like art community. Like it was, just a beautiful, amazing, mesmerizing time. And I loved what I did. And I fell in love with somebody who loved what he did. And we worked our way. You have to go back like 17 years ago. My husband, he had lived in a 1-bedroom flat and he had a little company, and the company was like the hot thing in London, but it wasn't a big thing in London. It was just like a hot little company doing amazing like fashion campaigns. And, I kind of saw him and thought he was amazing. And, since we've kind of grown together.
Yeah. And I think that is kind of, for me anyway, that seems like the the couples that you see that are so in tune, so aligned. There's so much respect. I saw the podcast you did together.
Oh.
And the conversation you had was so interesting.
I had to really twist his arm for that.
Yeah, but it was beautiful to watch.
He's not that kind of person, my husband, but he did it for me.
But it was such of course. But it's such a great insight into your relationship and the level of respect and admiration and love you have for each other.
Very true.
And I think that's really important. Take us back to London, because I bet there's a few Americans who know you as LA Emma, but tell me about London Emma.
Well, I'm such a Londoner, you know, it's like more than anything, any identity, I feel like a Londoner, you know, it's like I grew up in East London. When I moved out, I was always like in London, and it was a big part, you know, like going out on the weekends, going to nightclubs, going to see DJs and MCs and following that sort of like London garage scene. Like that was a big part of our identity.
A junglist over here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like like jungle, garage, like all of that music was so much a part of who you were. And you can say like you were a jungle person, I was a garage person. That's all you needed to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's literally all you needed to know about someone. That defined the way that we spoke, the way that we dressed, who we followed, what radio stations we would listen to for as long as they would stay open, because they were pirate radio stations. They were constantly getting closed down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it was like a whole thing that went on that really, you were part of something. And I grew up very much feeling part of this place. Yeah. And London was a big part of what I thought was special about what I knew and how I would move.
So I've read your brilliant book.
Thank you.
And you reveal so much and you give so much of yourself in it. Like you really do go, this is how I've got to where I am and this is what it's taken me, whether people like it or not.
Whether they like it or not.
Exactly. And I just thought, for me, the undercurrent was, it's because she knows something about life that a lot of other people don't, because of how she was brought up and where she was brought up. And I always say, if you're working class and you manage to get into the room, you're going to have the edge over everybody else.
Facts. It's actual facts, because the way that I was brought up was to find opportunity, because nobody was there to give you anything. And so when you found it, you do the best with it. So every single opportunity that I've ever created, I've always gone, all right, like now I've got this thing, what am I going to do with it? There was never a sense that I was owed anything. There was never a sense that, you know, something like magical was going to happen. I was like, I have to find the magic. I need to do the thing. So you feel an enormous weight, right? There was like this sort of heaviness in it that if I didn't activate myself, then I wasn't really going to go anywhere. But as soon as I was given an opportunity, I mean, I would make so much out of it. That's just who I am. You
Hustler.
know? Yes. Yeah. Born, bred, created.
So let's talk about the big defiance, the moment where everything changed.
So the moment for me that everything changed, I guess, would have been leaving England, which is crazy for me to say. And, you know, I say it with some trepidation, because when you feel so close to a place, it becomes so much a part of your identity. And what you lose when you know, I guess like the price you pay when you leave where you're from is like, it costs you familiarity. And I am such a person, like I could walk you through Selfridges like somebody who works there.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know, like that place is like my house. Like I think Selfridges is mine. When they move something, I'm like, how rude. Like, why have you moved that from there to there?
For me, Liberty is my happy place.
Oh, literally love.
I love that you used to pop into Selfridges on your way to work. Or was it on your way out, but after work?
Should have been in college. Yeah. Between class, just doing some research. You know, but it's like the West End, that was my stomping ground. That was, I knew everyone. You walk down South Molton Street, I knew every person in every shop. I would wangle away to a discount. So when I left London, it was a huge, that's what it was all about for me, the discounts. How, like, I couldn't afford to get my nails done. I remember Nails Inc. and I was like, listen, I work over there, you work there, let's swapsies our discounts and we'll figure this out. But you know, for me, London was always so special to me. Being English was a great sense of pride. And when I left under the kind of ambition that I'd had a company, I'd sold a company, I'd started a new one. Somebody said this brilliant phrase to me, one of the board members, he said, Emma, you have a tiger by the tail. What you do with it will be yours. And I thought, I could visualize that. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I have to go where the energy is. I have to go in the direction of where the energy is. And so that took me to LA, but it was kind of bittersweet because I had a 2.5-year-old, a 3-month-old. Yeah. You know, let me tell you, when you have a baby, you need your people. I needed my people. Yeah. I needed my sisters. I needed my best friends. I needed Ottolenghi. I needed, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to leave and not be able to get my coconut macaroons. Like, what am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? I needed that.
For people listening who don't know your full story, but I think by now everybody does, but what give us some context as to where in your sort of success
Yes.
were you at this stage? Because you got the two little ones.
So I had two little kids and I was married.
Yeah.
And I had built a business over the previous 10 years that did really well, opened offices all over the show, had a large company it's a large company by that standard then, right? As a media agency, not in comparison to what I have now.
Yeah.
And I sold that business. Just sort of like the final year, I started incubating my next step. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? As I was trying and out in the market to sell ITB. And I decided, having 10 years of experience putting talent and brands together, I was like, I'm going to create a talent-led brand. I'm going to create Good American.
Yep.
So I'd pitched that idea. I'd gone out. I got a little bit of traction around it. I decided I was going to start it, sold the agency, and decided that I would move to LA with this new company, because I'd made a mistake before. When I opened ITB in LA, I didn't move. I had so much ego around it, and so much because the agency was flying.
Yeah.
And when I opened the business in LA, it was a massive flop. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that again. This time, if I'm going to create something that is going to be based in America, I'm going to move there, because it requires 100% of me. Yeah. And so it was a mixture of kind of this guy on my board telling me, Emma, do you know what? You've got something amazing here. This idea is incredible. And the fact that I'd failed miserably before. And I was like, okay, so I've got to be, at least if I fail again, I've got to be in there. I've got to understand what I'm doing. And so I decided to make the move. But it was bad timing. It was incredibly lonely. And it was hard. It was hard to leave.
Yeah. And also, because I know the story, you thought that they were going to keep you on.
Oh,
you thought that they would say, yeah, we'll buy the company, but you can stay on. You can still, and kind of like phase you out.
You'll be the chairman for a year.
Which happens.
Yes, I mean, most people
normal.
have a lock-in, right? It's like you don't usually get to walk away from what it is that you've created. You have to stay there for a period of time, incubate it, and make sure it's a success. I had the opposite situation. They were like, see ya. And I was like, what do you mean?
What did that do to you?
It really, I don't want to say it broke me. It broke my ego.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? It's not ITB, it's Emma.com. Like, I believed that I was the heart and the soul of the company. And I had built a beautiful company with a beautiful team, but I felt like it was me and mine. And when I sold it, I hadn't quite got with that relationship of relinquishing something. It's like you take the money, you're giving something. And I thought that they would need me to continue to be successful.
A lesson in humility, I guess.
And some.
And we all need it, don't we?
We really, and listen, I did need it, because actually the company went on. It was successful for a period. When you sell your company, you sell the ability to have a say. Yeah. And so there are lots of things that I would have done differently to what they did, but that was their choice. I took the money, I took the check.
Take the check. Take the money, girls.
Take their money.
So you moved to LA. You've left Ottolenghi and your coconut macaroons behind, and your sisters, and your mum, and all your support network. Yeah. And then you land in this city, and obviously you're Emma Grede, and you're like dynamic. You're like, I'm going to just sit up again. But then you come across LA culture.
Yeah.
Really different to British culture.
Very different to British culture, and very unforgiving. It's one of those places where everybody knows everybody. Like, LA is small. Like, where people, you imagine America to be really big, but LA is like the size of Islington. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's tiny. It's like, by population, it's a very, very small place. Everyone went to school together. Everybody knows everybody. And it's such a community system that it's very hard to infiltrate. Also, 3 months after having a baby, you are not yourself. Yeah. You are not who you were. And so I kind of, in a way, am grateful to that time, because it gave me a period of concentration. All I had space for was Good American and my kids. That was it. I had no space to do anything else.
Did they get you? Did they get Emma Grede from the ends? Did they get I'm from Plaistow?
Absolutely not. Your humour, one of my favourite stories, I moved one of my great friends who also worked with me, called Jamie Girdler. And when I turned up to see him, I was like, how's it going, Jamie? He moved slightly before I did. He's a single guy and he could do it.
Yeah.
And he goes, they don't get me here, Em. I'm funny. He was like, I'm funny in England. And I was like, really? I said, but they love English boys here. He's like, oh yeah, I can get the girls. But he's like, they don't laugh at my jokes. And I was like, that says everything. No, they ain't laughing at your jokes, because they don't get your jokes. They don't understand our humour. And so that's a little bit of a shock, because I am a storyteller.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that gets what they want through the explanation of here's where we've been, here's where we're going, here's the big picture,
You can charm
that's
the
the
pants
strategy.
off anybody.
I'm a charmer. My charm didn't work so well.
I mean, ultimately it did.
Well, I figured it out. I'm always going to figure it out. But it was a check, because it was like, actually, do you know what you need to do, Emma? You need to rely on something else. So there were parts of my muscle. When you run an agency, you're going from client to client, winning business, and then you have to manage a team. This was very different. I had to become excellent at creation of a product, because I realized that my personality would only get me so far.
Yeah.
And if you want to sell millions of pairs of jeans, I can't impose my personality on each and every person. I needed to create something that was great and create a story around that thing and then sell the story. So it was a little bit different from what I'd done, but I was 100% sure I could do it.
But that is what sets you apart. It's your inner confidence.
Yeah.
100%. How are you 100% sure?
Well, you know what it is? I've done a lot of stuff that didn't work.
Yeah.
And so people ask all the time, they're like, where'd you get your confidence from? But confidence comes from going through stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like I was given confidence. What happened is I went through a lot of different things in business that didn't work out. And you learn a bit. You take a bit. And it all adds up to something. And so I had an excellent reputation. And reputation is something that you take with you wherever you go. And so for me, it was like that mixture of kind of knowing and wanting and being a person that got stuff done, like that stays with you. And I'm a very, very, very quick learner.
Yes.
It's like, I have no shame. Like I was phoning, no shame.
That is the word that had just come to my head. There's a few things that came to my mind whilst you were talking, which is my thing is always, because I have a similar trait. I'm a kind of natural risk taker, which isn't, I always say this. We say it's not common in women. I don't believe that. I think it is, but I think we just, we hedge our bets a little bit. I always think, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
When you feel like you've got nothing to lose, you kind of go for it. This shame thing is what I want to talk about. Like, what do you mean when you say you've got no shame?
Well, I don't mind getting it wrong. I think that what happens to women, and to your point, you think that actually women are okay at taking risks. What they're not okay with is what happens to women when they take risks and it doesn't work out.
Yes.
Because we're held to very different standards to
Correct.
men. And so when you hold women to a different standard and you treat them differently when they fail, and we don't give them the same opportunities after, that creates an aversion to taking the risk in the first place, because they're like, wait a minute, we're going to be hung out to dry. We're going to be spoken about in this way. Everybody's going to, there's going to be discourse created, and everything I say is going to be put under a microscope.
Yeah.
So that creates an aversion to taking the risks. And that's why so few women feel like they can do that safely.
For example, something as simple as asking for a pay rise, right? You didn't think you were getting paid enough. You did something
I was like,
about
I'm out of here. I've got to go.
You and I both know so many women who know they're not getting paid enough, but just don't even know how to approach it because, and it isn't just in their heads, because it might not play out for them in the same way it'll play out for Dave.
You are 1,000,000% right. And that's the very reason that I wrote this book, because we're still talking about so much disparity between men and women, not just in the way that we're paid, but also in the way that we're viewed, right? And so when I wrote the book, I was thinking about that continuously. It's crazy. I did a whole episode on negotiation, because I know that women feel uncertain about how to negotiate, because there is this idea that if you get more, I get less. A scarcity mindset is set up in the culture for us to follow.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to break down some of that feeling that is there, not saying it doesn't exist. It very much is real and it exists, but it's like we have to break through it.
Yeah.
We've got to do it ourselves.
It's so interesting. The one chapter in your, and I'm someone who's kind of worked hard, never asked for anything from anybody, right? Just grafted. In fact, what brings me the biggest joy is doing for other people. Making sure my parents just have nothing to worry about. It's that for me is my tick. It's my heart explodes.
I love that.
Thank you. And I know you're able to do the same and then some. But your chapter about money, I was like, I don't even know if I could. And I was like, okay, we need to talk about it. And I've been asked, I won't. Interesting, my male friends have always asked me how much I earn. I won't tell them.
That's
because
crazy.
I think, it's competitive, isn't it?
Yeah,
why are they asking me?
It is, but it's also mind-blowingly informative, right? Because how do you know what you're supposed to be paid?
Yeah.
How do you even, especially in some roles like yours, right? Where it's I guarantee, I almost go as far as to say, I think almost every woman is underpaid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
check it right now, there was just this beautiful study done in one of the universities in America. I think it was Stanford, could have misquoted it, where they put resumes into
Yes.
ChatGPT and all the AI search engines, change, Sam
Just
to
the name.
Sammy, whatever. And every single time the same resume comes out with a guy's name with more salary attached to it. Like that's
yeah.
not like, oh my God, like, no, that's insane.
And Sam's traits will be a great negotiator, but Sammy will be, too bossy or whatever it is.
Aggressive, ambitious.
Rather than, why is how do you feel about the word ambitious?
I feel really comfortable with it, babe. Really comfortable with it, even when I know it's being used in a way that isn't. Listen, here's the thing that I've come to. I am totally happy for the critique. I'm totally comfortable with the criticism, so long as it moves the conversation forward.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I am extremely thick-skinned. I language extremely deliberately. I don't care. Like, I just don't. I'm just like, you know what? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we have to have these conversations.
The relief.
Yeah.
Even the way you
just like,
said it.
No, it's like, come on.
Don't care. I think that should be our mantra.
Yeah.
Just, Emma, wake up in the morning.
Wake up in the morning.
Look in the mirror.
And, even as I say that, it's like, yeah, do you care when people misinterpret what you say? Do you care if people think that, take things really personally? I'm an empathetic girl at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but I'm on a mission. So at the end of the day, it's like, if it's going to take us, women are exceptional, but the realities of our exceptionalism are not in the places that we need them. We are not on the cap tables that matter. We are not in the positions of power. We are not in the halls of power.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, it's like, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to move a generation of women forward. We're trying to have conversations and dialogue and talk about things that are important, as opposed to focus our energies on what's not important. And I think what's been very interesting is, while, it's like I'm trying to have a conversation about one thing and we're talking about like things that I just don't think matter. Meanwhile, all the men have like gone on and just like they're getting what they need. And so I think that we have to take responsibility for the redirection of the conversation. Like, let's have a conversation about stuff that matters and moves women forward. What about how much we're paid?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Let's have a conversation about why can we not talk about money?
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation about how useful it would be if we started to understand money as a mechanic of our lives more thoroughly. Because when you ignore your mortgage rates, when you ignore plans for your savings, when you don't think about investment opportunities, when you outsource that to somebody else to look after, you are giving up your freedom. You're giving up your ability to choose.
I always say the most empowering thing a young woman can do for herself is to be financially independent.
Facts.
Like, you have to.
Facts.
You have to be able to stand on
There
your
will
own
be
2 feet.
no amount of episodes too much that I do around financial literacy, financial education. It is the single most important thing for women right now.
We'll come back and do another one. I want to ask you about the cost of all of this, right?
Yeah.
You are out there. I've done this brilliant book. You are speaking out about your huge success. But what has been the cost? Where in your life has it taken the toll?
Well, I always talk about this idea of trade-offs because they're really real. The important thing is that you choose the trade-off. I don't let the trade-off choose me. I'm never in a situation where I'm like, oh my goodness, I never imagined that I would have to, take that or do that. I make those choices. I decide what's in line with my vision for myself and my life. And when I talk about a vision, I talk about it in a very broad way. Like, who am I? What do I want? What is my purpose? What are my values? What are my principles? What type of family do I want? What type of mum do I want to be? And I anchor all my decision making in and around that. And then I decide what gives. And what gives for me is very different to what will give for you. What gives for me are things like, doing the school run, or being present at every single, event at my kids' school, or, there's a myriad of things. But I have decided to try to be really open about that, because you create permission for other people to do the same thing. And so what I don't want to do is bathe anyone in toxic positivity. I don't want to gaslight, and I don't want people to think that I magically found the 25th hour in the day. I didn't. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff I don't do.
Because you got help.
I've got a lot of help.
Yeah.
And before I had help, I asked for help.
Yes.
And I trained my husband to help. And I made sure that I had a sister over here and a mate over there. You know, when you're raised by a single mum, you learn resourcefulness. My mum had neighbours look after us, aunties look after us. It was never continuous. It was someone different every day. And by the way, we were taught to look after ourselves, which is what I'm doing to my kids as well. So I am not centering myself as the only person that can help my family. I have an expectation on my husband. I have an expectation on my kids. Like, you need to be able to
because of the expectation you have on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to scramble an egg. I get it. Like, you're 7, figure it out. That's what I did, you know? And so I think as women, when we center ourselves and we make ourselves the only people that can do anything for our family, and then we turn around and we go, I'm fucking exhausted. It's like, yeah, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Because the entire thing evolves and orientates itself around you. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not the only person in my family that does, that creates, that resolves for everybody else.
You'll burn out. Also, it's that whole put the gas mask on yourself first.
Damn right it is.
Biff, otherwise, how are you going to help anybody else? Have you had any backlash when you've spoken out about how you parent?
There is a lot of conversation. You know, I never interpret it as backlash because I never envisaged that everybody would agree with me. Like, what is that all about? You know, I welcome conversation. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I think it's unfortunate when people take like a little snippet and turn it into something, but maybe they're not readers. Maybe they don't have time. I'm here for it. I don't place a high value on everybody else's point of view.
Yeah.
I place a really high value on the things that I want. And I think that other people's opinions, not my business. I'm like, have at 'em, go for it.
Yeah, also it's your life and you are super successful. And I've been watching everything and reading everything and seeing what people have been saying. And it's like, this is, how do you become you and then continue to be you? Well, of course you need to have the resources to help you. And I quite like the idea. If I was a mum, I probably wouldn't want to do every school pickup either. You know, them's the facts, but that's just me. And I don't have children, so how do I know? It's all hypothetical.
And also, it's each to their own, because I have a lot of friends and a lot of people around me that make different choices.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that as women, we make our choices.
Yes.
That our choices aren't put on us. So what I care about is that we have choice. It doesn't matter what you do with it. You don't need to do the same thing as me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't imagine that everybody agrees with me in the same way I don't imagine that everyone wants to buy their underwear from Skims. Like, I'm like, buy it if you want and don't if you don't. Like, that's okay.
It's good though. Apart from the chin thing. Can we discuss the chin thing? Although
a little face shapewear.
Actually, do you know what? That's a lie. I do need a bit of the chin thing. Was there a merkin as well?
There was a merkin.
Can we discuss the
Innovations.
merkin?
I mean,
is this because of all the girls that basically had everything lasered off?
I mean, I can tell. Like, you know, I just create what we create. We're solving problems here. It's a solution-orientated business. Make of it what you will.
Yeah, one day you're going to wake up and regret the laser. So here we have a solution. I am so happy to tell you that Sisters of Defiance has partnered with Ancient and Brave. Not just partnered with, nourished by them. They're a female-founded, mission-driven wellness brand that creates collagen, supplements and blends for your whole body health. And I don't know about you, but the older I'm getting, the more important it is for me to have energy. So my non-negotiable daily rituals for a while have been taking their magnesium, ashwagandha and collagen, because just like me, Ancient and Brave believe in helping build strong, brave women. On top of all of that, there are B Corp and proud members of 1% for the Planet, which means 1% of their profits go towards environmental causes. And because here at Sisters of Defiance, we like to keep you informed, at the end of the podcast, you'll be able to hear the last offering where I talk to Joe and Jenna, who have been with Ancient and Brave from the very beginning. Experts who really know their stuff. So you lucky lot, to get 20% off your first 3 orders, a free ritual scoop and an additional £5 off your first order, all you need to do is type in our code SISTERS at the checkout. So head to ancientandbrave.earth/planet. There's so much in your book which is about business and drive and ambition and success, but also you really open up about you.
Yeah.
And the one bit that struck me was you'd had your 2 beautiful children, but then you wanted more. but actually you had real trouble conceiving and you went through quite a traumatic time.
Yeah, it was really traumatic. It was very unexpected because I'd had very easy pregnancies beforehand. And I think I just took it for granted that it would always be easy. Like, that's what I thought. And, it's really funny because I remember saying to my friend, I felt like I spent like half my life trying not to get pregnant. Do you know what I mean? I like imagining that every time I had sex that I would magically get pregnant. And then when you want to have a baby, it's no longer your choice. And you're like, fuck, like, did I waste all those times? Like, what did I do there? And so it was miserable. I make light of it now, but I remember being completely consumed by the idea that I wanted to have more kids and I couldn't. It wasn't working. I'd had a lot of rounds of IVF, got pregnant every time, lost the babies every time. And so it was very, very upsetting to me. And I managed, I was so lucky because being in LA, I could utilize surrogacy, which is unbelievably expensive and complex.
Yeah.
Complex not only in like getting it done, but also just from like a headspace point of view, because you're thinking so much about like, what is this? How does it going to work? Like, there's somebody else involved, like multiple people. And so it's a really sort of difficult thing to go through.
And every country has a different opinion about it. Like in the UK,
a different opinion and a different rule, right? Yeah.
Like here we see it as an altruistic act, but other countries, it's not always the same.
I live in California, and more than that, one of the single kind of best clinics in the world for IVF and for surrogacy is in Beverly Hills. Like, I drive past it every day on the way to work. So the access and the proximity was one of those things that was so much easier for me to fathom how it would work. I have so many friends that have had surrogates. A lot of my gay friends have gone through surrogacy. So I had a lot of people in my world that I could go to and say, what was this like for you? Like, how did this go? I had all my questions answered. And it was a joyful and honestly quite moving experience for me.
And do you then have a relationship with this?
I think that's down to the individual mother.
Yeah.
I think in any situation, you have to be the one creating your choices. And so, I think that it's such an individual thing.
Yeah. One detail that I did pick up in the book when you're talking about, how you have help doing lots of different things and you're not necessarily at every school run, but you did say that when it comes to knowing if the children's toenails are too long, that's on you, and Jens will book every holiday.
We do.
I was like, okay, so there is.
True. I haven't booked a holiday in 17 years, a flight, or I'm useless at that type of organisation. I think the beauty in being in a couple is when you support each other.
Yeah.
Like, we do different things. I work a lot with my husband, but it's not like we come into contact even that much. Like, he is brilliant at one thing. I'm brilliant at a different thing. And even in our family, like, I never expected to be the lead parent. I was never like, oh my God, like, I'm going to teach you how to change a diaper. I was like, you figure that shit out, But at the same time, I was accepting, like, when he did a shit diaper, I was like, that's not how I would do it. But I'm not going to micromanage my husband through those things. It's just not what I do. I'm like, you figure it out, and we're parent together. And as a result, I have a very sort of engaged. I think 50-50 is bullshit because nothing's ever 50-50. No. Right now, he's 100% because I've been away for a long time and Jens is doing everything with our kids.
And also you've been writing a book and you've got your podcast.
And we lean in and lean out. There's been times where he's been doing things and he's been busy and I've taken on more of 100% of the type of life.
Talking of holidays, I travel a lot.
You do?
Well, yeah.
Love.
You've got to see the world. You've got to meet people. You've got to experience life. It gives you such a great perspective. You can't just live in this
little bubble.
Like you got to get out.
Got to get out.
That will take you anywhere in the world.
Ooh.
Where are you going? Who are you with?
Oh,
where are you off
my
to?
gosh. Well, every single year I do a girls trip without fail. Like, still to this day, we do it the same week every year so that no one has to negotiate because there's so many kids between my girl group. This year we're going to Capri. We've been to Japan. We've been all over the world, this particular group.
Who's in your girl group?
Oh, it's like the same people. So it's Chanel, Holly, Melissa, Etty, Poppy. It's the same girls.
Are they London, LA?
London. Oh, they're London, babes. Come on, let's be serious. They're all London. They're all London. They're as London gets. And we have the best time. But if I'm really honest with you, like, my most sacred times are in the year are my family summers. Because as your kids get older, there's this awareness that you're not going to have, like, there's not like 50 summers, you know? It's like at some point, everyone wants to go to Ibiza and do their own thing. Do you know what I mean? And so I sit there and I'm like, I have this moment right now with a 12 and a 9 and 2 4-year-olds where they all are obsessed with their mum and they all want to hang out with me and nobody's like asking me to bring a friend, God forbid. And so we just have these magical times on vacation. And so I try to make the most of those moments. I go away for like a long time in the summer.
What's your relationship like with money? I watched this interview. Oh my God, by the way, Oprah, you and I both.
Do you die? Oh
dead.
My God, dead. Oprah. Anytime anyone says her name, I just start screaming. I'm dying because you can imagine. I'm like, I'm fan out. No, die. Can't even talk about it.
She's read your book.
Held my hands, read my book, knew the book. She's like, on page 32, she didn't look at the book once. I was like, ah!
See, I thought I was good.
She's amazing.
I need to up my game.
You are very good. You are excellent. But to page quote and word for word, barely looking, I'm like,
that's good.
She's magical.
Because you name her in the book. Because like you, she was a shining example of someone who came from nothing, who worked her ass off and became Oprah. And her generosity of spirit and how she makes people feel, all of it.
Integrity. And let me tell you, she's the least disappointing person on the planet. What you see, you get 10 times that. Do you know what I mean? Like you literally get that plus.
So I saw an interview. It was her in conversation with Will Smith. This was a long time ago. Yeah. And they were talking money. Okay. And I'm going to paraphrase.
I know. I actually know what you're going to say.
And he
said, I'm not rich. They're not rich. I'm rich. Yeah. About the kids.
Yeah. But
that's stuck in my head too.
And then there was
that's amazing.
He said, don't ask me about millions, because I couldn't tell you about millions, even though they're two of the richest, most successful Black people on the planet in America in entertainment. And he said, but ask me the value of $1 and I can tell you. Right. And I just wanted to know, when you come from your background and now you have a life of abundance, Emma, like you have smashed it, like girl done good.
Thank you.
Good on you. Right. What is your relationship like with money? Like, do you just spend willy-nilly, or are you still like, how much?
Both and. You know, there's a whole chapter in my book about it's not either or, it's both and. Yes, of course, I spend a lot of money. I'd be lying if I said I didn't spend with abundance. But I know the price of everything. Yeah. I know the cost of everything. And I have such an intact relationship with money. To do my job well, you have to, right? Because if you're going to sell somebody something, it needs to be worth every $129 that they pay for that thing, right? It doesn't matter if it's a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, like whatever it is. It's like you need to understand that people are working hard, and what that money means to me might be very different from somebody else. So I have to keep my relationship. But it's also like I am so in tune with what I earn. I give nothing away for free, like nothing. I do a lot of philanthropic work. I do a lot of like mentoring, but it's like when it comes to my services, like you can call me and ask me for a favor and I'll say to you, absolutely. And in return, I need X, Y, and Z. So I have that relationship with money intact, but it goes both ways.
I circled that bit in the book.
Absolutely.
Because I do a lot of favors.
Yeah, because
no more.
A lot of women do a lot of favors because we imagine that by saying no or charging for our services, we're doing the other side some type of damage, and you forget what it's doing to you, especially around like creative people, artistic people, where it's hard to put a value on something. Like how much is a half an hour call worth with you?
Exactly.
Well, I don't think about that half an hour. I think about the 25 years of experience it's taking you to have that call. So put a price on it.
Oh my God, I'm getting like flipping mentored by the greed in the moment. Okay, noise still to come. What's happening next?
You know, so when I thought about my book, Start With Yourself was really about me imparting a philosophy. Like, this is the way I live. These are the things that work for me. Maybe you should have a crack at them. Like, maybe these are things that are worth thinking about. And at the end of the day, the way that I think now is that success looks like how you can take a group of people that perhaps on paper don't have the right resume, don't have the right background, maybe didn't come from the right kind of place, education, and let them understand that they can do it anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think about my impact being that of both inspiring and enabling. Like, it wouldn't be enough to just for me to go, look at me, like, come over here.
Yeah.
No, there's an element where actually you can say, look at me, come over here, and here's how I can help you. Here's the information. And the book was very much the beginning of me starting to think about what that looks like in real life. So I care about impact. I care about winning. Me winning, you winning, us making more money, us having more power. And that's important.
Disrupting the system?
It's important to disrupt the system because the system's a little bit fucked up.
Isn't it?
And it's important that if we think about some of the places and spaces that women don't inhabit enough of, that's where the decisions are being made, and that's where perhaps sometimes we go wrong. So I think more women in more positions of power will ultimately be great for everyone.
Amen to that, sister. Okay, we are putting together a library of wisdom. Okay, this is knowledge that we can then impart and we can reference. So it can be a piece of art, a book, a song, something that's inspired you that you could leave for other people, other women, other sisters and brothers. Brothers are welcome.
I
Everyone's
love
welcome.
that.
What would you put in our library of wisdom?
What I would put in your library of wisdom is to have a vision for yourself. And the reason that is important, and the reason it's different from how we maybe think about it in the sort of world right now, is because you have to use that vision to not only figure out what you want, but figure out what you say no to, figure out what you don't want more of in your life. And when you get really sharp about that, when you write it down, when you hold yourself accountable, when you say it out loud and make it known, everything changes. Like the ability for you to make your dreams come true and what happens around you, everything goes up.
Yeah.
Like literally rises. And so I think that is probably the most important thing that anyone can do for themselves, to have a ironclad vision for themselves.
Something in your book, another thing that I related to was when you said at the beginning that you sort of knew that you weren't meant for where you were.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember feeling that. I'm like, I'm here. This is my life, but it's not my life.
Yeah.
My life is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does everyone have that? I don't know.
I think that everybody has a version, and maybe it's less about like where they're from or feeling like they don't belong, but it's more about, I don't know that I met somebody that doesn't have like a dream for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we all have dreams for ourselves, and they can be, I don't think that everybody's dream needs to look like mine, but I think it's really important to aspire towards something.
Yes.
You know, and that can be like, I want to make like model trains. Like, I don't care what it is, but to have that aspiration that you want to do something beyond yourself is really important for a life well lived.
Are you learning to play piano?
Oh, do you know what? I still am not learning to play piano.
I
did learn to swim. I really should.
I want to learn.
I honestly, it's in me somewhere. I think I'll be like 55 years old and like playing the piano.
I have the same. I've got a piano
so
out
crazy.
there.
You do have a piano out there.
I need to get a piano
You need
teacher.
to tinker. You need to get in on
Same
the
as you.
piano. It's absolutely true. You are right.
I want a piano.
We could maybe hold each other accountable to our piano
All right,
playing.
I'll tell you what, we'll give ourselves a year.
And come back.
And we'll
see
have
what
a
happens.
concert. All right, quick 5 questions. Here we
Go
go.
for it, my darling.
All right. The lie you believe too long.
Oh, the lie I believe too long. You know, probably because of my dyslexia, that certain things were beyond my comprehension. You know, I used to be one of those people that would be like, I'm not good with numbers. It's like, what are you talking about? Can you count? Like, you have to get good. You have to learn. You have to change. You know, it's like you can't run a business and not be able to read the numbers. And so I had to retrain myself. And that was really painful because I am heavily dyslexic.
But it's a superpower.
It is. Do you know what? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's a superpower, and it's given me a lot of things. It's also given me an ability to know that I can learn.
And you can think laterally, and you can problem solve in different ways.
Because at the end of the day, you know, I am somebody with a real growth mindset. Like, I really understand that nothing is fixed. There is no fixed reality in my life. It's like, if I apply myself and work hard enough, I can do anything.
There you go. My mum and dad are applauding.
Aww, love it. Oh, mine are.
They used to say to me, don't come and tell us what you're thinking of doing. Go and do it and come and tell us that you've done it.
First of all, I love them.
That
I
is
love
it.
them.
That
You're
is
like
it.
that.
Just
You're
come and
like,
do it.
sorry, mum and dad. Okay.
They're like, all right, I'll do
You're
it.
like, note taken.
Yeah. What should more women say no to?
Whatever the first offer was.
Hey, excellent. Your non-negotiable daily ritual.
Oh, it's non-negotiable for me to skip the gratitude, because when you orientate your thoughts around the good stuff in your life, that becomes the direction of your thoughts. So even when bad shit's happening, which I've had in so many periods in my life, I always look towards a North Star. I always focus on what I do have, on abundance, on the things that are going well. And it's just a game changer of life. It's a total game changer.
I love that. London or LA?
London, no, what the fuck? No contest,
Easy.
Zero. It's not even a question. Seriously, what are we eating in LA? Nothing. No.
What are you eating
Nothing.
in LA?
Salad. Stop it.
What's
no.
your cook
Choke on your smoothie.
What's your cook making for you?
Oh, do you know what? I literally...
Come on, what do you love? What do you
First of all, I don't have anything that I love. I'm so disciplined. I don't even when I cook, I cook whatever I want. No, I'm like a protein and veggie girl 5 days a week. And on the weekend, no, I go nuts. The weekend, I have whatever I want, because also I want to be around my kids eating like a normal person. I don't want to have cottage cheese and an egg on a weekend breakfast.
That's
horrible.
And also your children don't need to see that.
No, it's horrendous. But honestly, I'm eating cottage cheese and eggs most days. A smoothie, protein powder, 27 ingredients in a boring smoothie.
It's about longevity. You've gone so LA.
I have. No, listen, I will fully own and cop to that one. It's the diet, the food intake is LA.
What's the restaurant? Is there somewhere you hit up as soon as you land in London? Where do you go?
First of all, I go straight to I don't even get out of the airport. I go to Marks and Spencer's in the airport. I buy my favourite sandwich, which is cheese and celery, which is always left.
I've got it for you.
Which is what you got for me. No one else eats it, babe. It's always there.
Exactly.
So I might be the only one. I buy Percy Pigs. I buy my chocolate cornflakes in the tub. I eat the whole tub before I pull up at the hotel. It's it just goes out the window.
Two more questions. If I put little Emma in your lap, okay, she's sitting there, all cute and gorgeous and fiery.
Sunny Smiler Stratford winner, Emma, you mean?
Exactly, that one. What would you whisper in her ear?
Oh, what a lovely question that is. What would I whisper in her ear? I would just tell her not to give up. It's all going to work out. Because it does eventually, maybe not as quickly as you expect it to, maybe not in the movies or in Instagram, but it works out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer that, especially for women, but all humans, we need joy and dance and music and just to regulate your body, to be with people, to sweat. You are
so right.
I know. So
we are
building a Sisters of Defiance dance playlist.
You are?
What song are you going to put on it?
Oh, this is so easy for me because it ladders up to the first question. It would be Bitch Better Have My Money by Rihanna, who we love. I don't know why everyone's bugging her to make any more songs. It's she did it. She's done it. She made the song of our lives. Leave her alone. Let's just go with that one. We'll take that one song. We'll have it forever. We'll thank Rihanna. We'll kiss her little perfectly pedicured toes. Be done with it. What is happening? Once you have that song,
leave bad girl Riri alone.
Leave her alone. It's she did.
She's done it.
Song. Bitch Better Have My Money. It's so good. Every time I hear it, it gets better.
I'm completely with you. And I am so grateful that you've put it on our playlist. Emma Grede, you've been an absolute joy. I've loved meeting you.
Thank you.
More power to you. And I actually can't wait to see what you do next.
You are a joy. You're so incredibly good at your job that it makes it easy. I can't even imagine that we've been here for this long.
No,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. And
thank
also,
you to you.
Oprah, Michelle Obama, that's your girl gang now.
Yeah, best busy mates. Hanging out.
I'm sneaking in on one of those trips.
Absolutely.
I'm coming to Capri.
We'll invite them round to your beautiful house.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me in your home.
Please, anytime.
It's so lovely.
Next time you're here, we're sitting on the balcony.
Love you. Just
I'm going to buy you a cheese and celery sandwich.
Listen,
and a cocktail.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Do you drink?
Oh, yeah.
What's your tipple?
Yeah, I love a glass of red wine. Like that would be my glass of red wine or a glass of champagne. I'm not so good with the cocktails because I like all the sugary cocktails.
Me too.
So just like give me a sugary glass of wine instead.
We're gonna have champagne and a cheese and celery
Champagne and a
Marks and
sandwich.
Spencer's. Lovely.
Done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my darling. What a joy. That was so nice.
So easy.
I literally thought we were like 20 minutes in.
That's so Joe and Jenna, the last offering, the gift. Today I want to discuss when the room wasn't built for you. I mean, the room isn't built for us. We as women are having to pull up chairs left, right and centre. Tell us about the physiological impact of the sustained stress of having to be the pressure, the fatigue, what it does to our nervous system.
Yeah, I mean, I think we often have this negative connotation of stress, don't we? We say it ourselves, our friends have those conversations, I'm stressed. It's always negative. But it's kind of a really important fundamental part of our physiology. And it's one of the reasons we're still alive as a species, because the stress response was just designed to motivate you to get to safety. So, throughout our evolution, and I think it's really important to look through that lens of evolution where, most people didn't survive till they were 40. You would die by injury, infection, malnutrition, something awful would happen before we had all the, amazing things we have in our modern world. But our nervous system is still the same, essentially. So the stress response would be there to motivate you to safety. So if something was going to inflict damage on you, your brain sees that, it's making sense of that, and it's going, right, I need to be able to get myself safe. So I'm going to change my muscle tone, change the blood pressure, change the blood sugar levels, like all of these very physical things are going to happen so that you can run away or fight off danger or whatever it is, which is great. And it's something your body can deal with in a very short-term manner. And then your ability to switch off that response, come back to normal, or as we call it, homeostasis. That is really important. So it's like you can do it and then come back to baseline.
How? I'm asking for a friend. Me. Our
ancestors would have done that beautifully because they didn't have all of the challenges that we have, and the system was designed that way. It's like, yes, stress is fine when it's got a function, and then we come to baseline. The challenge is that the things that we find stressful are all around us and constant. So from the moment we open our eyes and we see something awful on the media that we might find it really impactful, to the emails that we're reading on the train on the busy stressful commute to work, or the difficult situations that we have with family members or friends, or there's just a constant stream of stresses. So our body is always bracing for that. Yeah. So that is affecting things like, our muscle tension, our energy levels, because we're pouring so much energy into that, what should be a short-term response all the time. It's like burning the candle at both ends and never allowing ourselves to recoup.
And what's beautiful about the body is that it wants to come back to homeostasis. It's looking to find balance all the time. So your question is, what should I do? Often it's just stepping back and allowing the body to be able to do that and making sure it's got room and time to be able to do that and come back to baseline. So I think what we see a lot and what we have a lot of conversations about is people are asking for more things. What's the extra thing that I can do? What can I add into my day? What extra supplement can I take? And sometimes it's not adding more. Sometimes it's just allowing a bit more space, or sometimes it is taking things away, simplifying, bring it back to the foundations, which is actually what's going to make a measurable difference for people.
God, I love talking to the two of you. I feel a bit emotional. It's like you're giving us permission. Yeah. You are saying, right, in order to give yourself the energy and nourish yourselves, actually just give yourself a little break. Emma Grede was in the house. She was how I would imagine her to be, actually, whip smart, thought about everything, really driven, really focused. Have to admit, though, throughout the whole interview, I was looking at the absolute epic rock on her finger. It was huge. But it was really lovely to talk about her love of cheese and celery sandwiches and some really meaningful, heartfelt stuff as well. So, yeah, thanks to all of you for listening. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from, to follow us on YouTube, to tell everybody you know about Sisters of Defiance. Massive thank you to Ancient and Brave for nourishing us, and a huge thank you to my team, to Will, to Flossie and to Anna. Until the next time, take it easy.